team, but we also have the Pierce County Sheriff's SWAT team here with us as well. And we really appreciate the assistance they provided for us on that day as we work together, two teams working really well together. So I just wanted to mention that before I read this statement here as a synopsis of the event. Shortly after 7 a.m. on Sunday, July 21st, South Sound 911 received a call from a multifamily complex regarding a domestic incident involving a firearm. Dispatch was informed that a Tacoma woman named Selena had contacted her neighbor and stepfather, telling them her ex-boyfriend had arrived at her home armed with a gun and was refusing to let her leave. Selena also mentioned that her 3 children were still inside the house. A neighbor and Selena's stepfather acted immediately, entering the residence where Selena and her children were being held by her ex. The neighbor quickly gathered the children and moved them to another part of the complex, while her stepfather, deeply concerned for Selena's safety, chose to stay behind and refused to leave without her. On-scene officers were told that the suspect had locked all doors and windows, trapping Selena and her stepfather inside. Recognizing the volatile and dangerous nature of the situation, officers requested assistance from the Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT team. While awaiting the arrival of the rescue vehicle, 1 SWAT team member and 3 patrol officers approached the building where the neighbor had hidden the children. They successfully removed the bars on a window, safely evacuating Selena's 3 children, the family dog, and a 4th child from a neighboring family. Officers worked with dispatch and family members at the scene to obtain contact information for those inside the home. Patrol units secured the area as SWAT team members arrived in an armored rescue vehicle. The crisis negotiations team, as part of SWAT, began communicating with the suspect and Selena, aiming to de-escalate the situation. For 4 hours, negotiations were ongoing and seemed to be progressing. Officers learned that the suspect was possibly experiencing a mental health crisis. Crisis negotiators carefully worked to build rapport and devise a plan to safely extract everyone from the house. Tragically, the situation escalated when gunfire erupted inside the home. SWAT immediately forced entry, carrying Selena to a waiting ambulance while beginning to render aid to her ex. The fire department was escorted inside to provide additional medical assistance. Both were transported to local hospitals, where it was determined that Selena's ex had shot her multiple times before turning the gun on himself. He succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased 2 days later. Selena survived the attack, but faced a long and grueling recovery. She underwent 6 hours of emergency surgery, followed by a 3-week hospital stay. To date, she has endured 5 surgeries as part of her rehabilitation. On behalf of the Tacoma Police Department, the Tacoma Police Department SWAT team, and the Pierce County Sheriff's SWAT team, I want to express our heartfelt gratitude to Selena for taking time out of her remarkable recovery to visit with us today. Her strength, resilience, and determination to survive are nothing short of heroic. We are truly humbled by her courage and honored to have played a role in her journey. And I believe Selena will be speaking now.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Selena, and I want to read you a brief statement about July 21st, 2024. July 21st changed the trajectory of our lives forever. At the time, I was in my final year of training to become a nurse, and I was actively working in the field of crisis connections, supporting people struggling with mental illness and addiction. I was in a relationship with my ex-partner for 15 years. He was loving, caring, and had never shown any signs of being violent toward me or our 3 children. I truly believed he loved us, and in many ways, I still believe he did. But over time, he began to change. He became increasingly paranoid distanced himself from others and started talking about protecting himself with weapons. No one, myself included, could have ever predicted that July 21st would end the way it did. Let's see. I remember waking up to a quiet morning while my children were still peacefully sleeping. I remember my ex showing up at my home, and when I asked him to leave, he refused. I remember the gun in his hand, and he told me he just wanted to talk. I stayed calm, taking pictures and providing information to family members outside the house, hoping the police would arrive quickly. I remember him refusing to let me leave his side. I remember the overwhelming relief when I learned that our children had been safely taken out of the house. I remember speaking with the crisis negotiator over the phone, clinging to hope. At the same time, I could hear my ex talking with another crisis negotiator. I could feel how hard both negotiators were working, not just to keep me and my children safe, but to protect my ex as well. I also remember my stepdad refusing to leave, unwilling to abandon me in such a terrifying moment. I remember the sound of the gun. Next, I remember seeing the eyes of a SWAT officer as he entered my house. I remember his steady voice as he assessed my injuries. I can still feel the moment I was carried out of the house, his voice echoing in my mind, keeping me in the fight to survive. To this day, I still see his eyes and hear that voice. Today, I wanted to meet the officer and all the officers who risked their lives that day to save mine. Over these past months, I have been fighting the hardest battle of my life. Remembering those officers and what they did for us on July 21st has given me the strength to keep going. With that, I want to publicly say thank you. I'm here today because you risked your lives to save mine. You had no idea what was on the other side of the door, but you went in anyway. You carried me to safety, and you still carry me through my toughest days. That's what I would like to say.
All right, now we'll open it up for some questions. Any questions from media? Yep.
I had a question for you, Selena.
Uh-huh.
First, I want to say I'm so happy you're recovering. I know this is probably really hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Why did you feel like it was important to come here and meet these people who were there that day?
Not many know, but my family was on vacation coming back from our island, which is the Philippines, and these women and men risked their lives to be there for me, and it provided comfort, and I wanted to thank them, because it takes a lot to be in the positions they're in, and I know my family would have wanted me to be taken care of, and they took care of me while they were gone. So I really wanted to thank these women and men, because without them, I probably wouldn't have been here. So I really appreciate them greatly, and they deserve that.
Selena, I want to echo, what our folks have said. Thank you for being here. Your bravery, your strength is really inspirational.
Of course.
My question for you is, I know it was a few moments before we got here, but to see these faces that you say haven't left your mind for months, what was it like to finally see them again?
It's very touching, to actually touch these people and look them in their face and hear their voices, because some of these men and women, even though I heard them, I didn't see them that day. So to see the actual picture behind the phone call or whatnot, to be able to say thank you is everything for me, and to see the picture of the face to the voice is everything for me, and I'll carry that on forever.
Any other questions?
I have a question for Captain Strikes.
Actually, I've got one more for Selena before you
Okay.
take on. What do you say to people maybe entering the field of police, law enforcement and such? How would you encourage them to apply for such a job?
Well, I think it's a great thing. You're saving people's life. You're everlasting memory in their mind, and I think it's a great career path and really good thing to look into if you're really wanting to change lives. because I mean, like I said, I will never forget any of your guys' faces or voices. So I mean, anyone who wants to be in law enforcement, I encourage, because it's life changing. You change people's lives, and we need you guys. You know, we need police officers. We need the people just as much. You know, I couldn't have been alive if it wasn't for them. So I encourage people to be a part of the police department if that's something that they're interested in.
Any more for Selena? You guys want that?
I just want to have you go back and forth.
Oh, thank you.
I know this is emotional for you. When you saw Selena again today and you saw her not only be here, to be able to stand up and show you that gratitude while standing on her own 2 feet, what was that moment like for you?
It's pretty amazing. I was there at that scene, but I was in the command post. So you know, the officers that are here had more face to face, and so I'm sure it's pretty impactful, for them as well. But just amazing for me, from my perspective, just to see the recovery that has happened and just her courage and resilience. It's pretty amazing.
Any
I
more?
have one question. How often is it, you guys go to these scenes and have to help so many people, but how often is it that you actually hear from people after the fact like this?
It happens from time to time, and it's really great when it does. I would say that I don't have a number on it, but it is pretty great to be a part of that experience. You get that closure, and I'm sure for them it's closure too. So we do appreciate it, definitely.
Any more?
Could we hear from Stepdad? Is that possible?
Want to ask him a question?
Yeah,
If possible.
we don't want to put you on the spot though.
It's not right.
It's okay.
We, to read about your heroic action, none of us would think necessarily in that moment to think what we would do, but what drove you to make that brave choice to stay alongside your stepfather?
Thank you for being here. Well, it's the love for the child. I gave her since she was like 4 years old. So sorry. It's really hard to see the situation that was in it when you don't see nothing coming from the person. I knew him since he was like 13 years old, probably 12. So you don't see nothing coming like that. He never have any problems. So I never been in a situation like that. So I just went by my instincts, and I don't want anything to happen to her, and either him. I was trying my best and make sure that nothing happened, either her or me or him, either, regardless the situation and problem there was. I cared for him and also for her, and it was really hard, I think, because my other daughter, so it was really hard to decide what you gotta do. I just went with whatever I feel, you know. It was my love for her, you know.
Just one more question. How does it feel for you to now see her recovering and hear talking about the situation?
Feels amazing because sorry what I want to say about them, but they take me into basically jail, whatever it was. So I was really concerned of what happened, and I didn't know what was happening. I keep asking, and nobody told me anything. So it was a little while that I wasn't there, knowing nothing, until I actually get to the hospital and see her. That's when I feel the pressure that I have inside me release. Right now, it's been a long journey. Care for her, you know, but it's amazing seeing her walking again. It was really hard, you know, when the doctor say that, you know, she can feel the left side. But now she's doing really good. So hopefully, don't take that long no more, you know, because she needs to start walking. Oh yeah, I always do, but we need to start doing.
Any other questions?
This one's really an easy one, actually. I know this is a really tough emotional thing to talk about. I'd love if you could just say and spell your name for us so we can properly recognize you and all you.
Oh, my name is Juan. It's Juan. My last name. You want my last name too?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's Abina. It's A B S and Victor INA. So yeah, no problem.
All right. So at this point, thank you. Selena's just gonna hang out with the team, check out some of the vehicles that were there that day, and thank you.